This is the Liaison podcast with Izzy Park, and today's travel show is about the magic of Aspen, where champagne powder meets warm cocoa après-ski culture in one of Colorado's most captivating mountain destinations. Picture this. You're standing at 11,000 feet, catching your breath in air so thin it feels like champagne, looking down at a Victorian town that somehow ended up in the middle of the Colorado Rockies. Behind you, 1,400 vertical feet of untouched powder drops into Highland Bowl, steep enough to make your heart race. Below, at the base of the mountain, someone's sipping actual champagne on a heated patio, wearing a ski jacket that costs more than most people's rent. This is Aspen, a place where billionaires and ski bums ride the same chairlift, where you can ski double black diamonds in the morning and watch world-class ballet at night, where the contradictions are as dramatic as the peaks surrounding you. And here's what nobody tells you about Aspen. Beneath all that wealth and glamour, there's a mountain town with a soul, a place built on genuine powder obsession and Victorian-era bones that refuses to be just another luxury resort. Let me be completely honest with you. Aspen might seem intimidating. Private jets, celebrities at the grocery store, homes that sell for $50 million. But here's the thing about this place that makes it absolutely unmissable. It offers something you genuinely cannot find anywhere else in the world. This isn't just hype. Verbier's got the European luxury, sure. Whistler's massive and fun. Jackson Hole's hardcore. But nowhere else gives you 4 distinct mountains with terrain that challenges Olympic athletes, wrapped in a level of cultural sophistication that includes a music festival rivaling anything in Vienna, all contained in a perfectly preserved mining town from the 1880s. You're in a place where Hunter S. Thompson ran for sheriff, where the Aspen Institute brings together world leaders and thinkers, where serious skiers earn their powder obsession credentials. And those 4 mountains? Each one's got its own personality. Aspen Mountain, everyone calls it Ajax, looms directly over town. No beginner runs, just steep, leg-burning terrain and the most iconic see-and-be-seen scene in skiing. Highlands is where expert skiers prove themselves, home to Highland Bowl, which is basically a pilgrimage site for people who live for steep and deep. Buttermilk might sound gentle, but it hosts the X Games and has terrain parks that'll humble you. Snowmass is the giant of the family, massive enough that you could ski for days without repeating a run. Having all 4 on one pass, each a completely different experience, that's the Aspen advantage. But let's talk about what really makes people obsessed with this place, the powder. Colorado champagne powder is light and dry in a way that skis differently than anywhere else. When it snows overnight and you're on the mountain when the lifts open, getting first tracks through untouched powder while the Victorian town glitters below you and the Elk Mountains go pink with sunrise, that's a feeling that stays with you. There's something about being at 8,000 feet, surrounded by 14,000-foot peaks, where the thin air makes everything slightly surreal and more intense. Your lungs work harder, colours seem sharper, the sky's so blue it almost hurts. And then you've got the town itself. Most ski resorts feel modern, purpose-built. Aspen's different. Those painted Victorian buildings aren't theme park decoration. They're the real deal, preserved from the silver mining boom. The Wheeler Opera House opened its doors over a century ago and still hosts performances. The Hotel Jerome has been serving drinks at its legendary J-Bar since before cars existed. Walking downtown feels like stepping through time, except the coffee shops serve oat milk lattes and the boutiques are Gucci and Prada. That contradiction is quintessentially Aspen. More after our break.
My name is Tom Sachs. I'm an artist in New York City. For nearly 2 decades, I have been collaborating with Nike.
Nike running is for runners, Nike basketball is for basketball. Nike craft is for everyone else.
The town's got this split personality that somehow works. There's luxury brand Aspen, private jets, designer everything, wealth so concentrated it becomes almost abstract. Then there's mountain town Aspen, ski bums who've figured out how to make it work, athletes training for competitions, locals who've been here since before the mega money. These two Aspens coexist, sometimes clashing, mostly just creating this charged energy you can feel walking down the street. At 3 p.m, the base of Ajax turns into a scene. Ajax Tavern's patio becomes the epicenter of Apres ski culture. Truffle-fries, champagne, people watching that's its own competitive sport. Skiers coming down the mountain, still in their gear. Conversations happening in Russian, Portuguese, English, Arabic. Everyone wearing technical fabrics that cost a fortune, but might actually get used on legitimate terrain. Because here's what's interesting about Aspen. Even among all that wealth, skiing ability matters. Good powder technique gives you credibility that money can't buy. The person making your coffee might absolutely destroy you on the mountain. There's a strange egalitarianism within extreme inequality. Everyone rides the same chairlifts, deals with the same weather, respects the same powder days. The cultural side of Aspen is surprisingly real. Most ski towns, you're there to ski, maybe hit some bars, that's it. Aspen has the music festival every summer that brings world-class classical musicians. The Aspen Institute hosts genuine intellectual discourse, not as background scenery, but as part of the town's DNA since the late 1940s, when Walter Pepke decided to transform this near ghost town into a cultural centre. The Aspen Art Museum shows cutting-edge contemporary work in this controversial modern building that locals argued about for years. You can ski hard all day and catch a performance that would sell out in New York. That combination is rare enough to be special. Now, the vibe here isn't party town energy. This isn't where you come for spring break chaos. The scene is more sophisticated, more see and be seen, with a wellness obsession running through everything. First tracks are sacred. People line up at 8:30 in the morning to be on the mountain when lifts open, chasing that first run on fresh corduroy or new powder. There's something almost religious about it. Uphill skiing before dawn is its own culture. People climbing the mountain on skis with climbing skins for training, reaching the top as the sun hits the peaks. The Apres scene runs from 3 to 6. Then there's this interesting transformation where everyone cleans up. You'll see the same people who were in ski gear a few hours ago now dressed up for dinner. The restaurants here punch way above what you'd expect from a town of 7,000 people. Fine dining that rivals major cities. But also this particular mountain town thing where nobody's stuffy about it. Wealth creates a weird casualness. When everyone's rich, nobody needs to prove anything. And the local customs have their own rhythm. Opening day of ski season is treated like a holiday. White Christmas is a whole production. The town goes all out with lights and decorations. Sunday's Aspen Times newspaper gets genuinely read because in a place this small, local news matters. There's a subtle territorial thing with long-time locals who remember scrappier days. A generational divide between people who knew Aspen before the mega wealth and younger folks who've only known it as a luxury destination. What you need to understand is that Aspen forces you to reckon with contradictions. The environmental consciousness versus private jets. The celebration of Victorian preservation while building ultra-modern glass mansions on mountainsides. Service workers commuting 40 miles from Down Valley because they can't afford to live where they work, yet choosing that sacrifice because the mountains are worth it. Hunter Thompson's gonzo counterculture legacy existing alongside billionaire real estate. These tensions don't resolve, they just create the particular energy that is Aspen. More after our break.
Building a new product? Temez Labs takes you from napkin sketch to the App Store. Trusted by Fortune 500s for quality, security, and speed. Book your free strategy session at temez.ai.
Let's talk about actually being on these mountains. Highland Bowl deserves its reputation. You hike anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes from the top of the Loge Peak lift, switchbacking up this ridge with your skis on your shoulder, breathing hard in the thin air, wondering why you're doing this. Then you get to the top and look down at 1,400 vertical feet of steep, wide-open alpine bowl. And if it snowed recently, you're looking at untouched powder. The hike becomes worth it real fast. They check avalanche beacons before you go. This is serious terrain, not groomed runs with safety nets. When you drop in and that light Colorado powder is spraying around you and you've earned every turn by hiking for it, that's a core memory you'll carry forever. Or take the Silver Queen gondola from the base of town straight up Ajax. Even if you're not skiing, you can ride up as a foot passenger and have lunch at the sun deck at the summit. The 360 view up there. You're surrounded by the Elk Mountains, these dramatic peaks that look almost too perfect, like someone designed them for maximum drama. Maroon Bells, about 10 miles away, are possibly the most photographed mountains in Colorado. Twin 14,000-foot peaks reflected in an alpine lake. The image is iconic for a reason. That scenery is legitimately breathtaking. For terrain beyond the groomed runs, there's hike-to zones all over. The Dumps, Bear Paw, various Y-zones on Snowmass. And if you really want to go big, Aspen Skiing Company runs snowcat skiing. You're in this tracked vehicle accessing the backside of Aspen Mountain, skiing untouched powder where most people never go. It's expensive, sure, but the experience of being in untouched backcountry without the full commitment of a backcountry tour is pretty special. The backcountry around Aspen is extensive. The Maroon Bells Snowmass Wilderness wraps around the town. Over 180,000 acres of protected wilderness with 6 peaks over 14,000 feet. If you're into ski touring, this is paradise. Popular zones like Montezuma Bowl and Richmond Ridge get tracked out quick on powder days. But there's so much terrain that solitude is possible if you know where to go. We hope you enjoyed the trip. You can support the Liaison podcast by rating it 5 stars and pressing the follow button. And remember, one's destination is never a place, but rather a new way of looking at things.
Grep News. Tamez.